Peace is a lie. There is only passion.
I am beside myself. Not only did you get the Twi'lek to cooperate, but you completed the task and claimed the ancient lightsaber.
Through passion, I gain strength.
I see you may indeed become one of the strongest Sith in the galaxy.
Through strength, power.
This is only the beginning. With you as my right hand, we shall strike fear into the Empire's enemies.
Be warned. One of your own plots to betray you.
The Emperor tasks the Hand with a great undertaking, and you are to become his wrath.
What does that have to do with me?
You have been called.
You have done well, my wrath.
The hinges are gone from the door.
You must express the Emperor's will.
Unleash the Emperor's wrath.
Can you feel your grip on life slipping? Why persist in this futile gesture of vengeance? Let go. Embrace your death.
Through power, victory. Through victory, my chains are broken.
I was never, nor shall I ever be, your slave.
Ranking from birth among the most elite in the Sith Empire, the Sith Warrior's deadly skills and command of the dark side of the Force have become legendary across the galaxy. This tale begins around the year of 3640 BBY, when a pure-blooded Sith who had great potential was sent to Korriban to be trained in the ways of the dark side. It was Imperial law that all Force-sensitive children were to be trained during the war, a tradition that seemingly continued even after the Treaty of Coruscant. However, for a pure-blooded Sith, it was your obligation to train. A pureblood who is not Force-sensitive is a pureblood that is cast aside. When this aspiring acolyte reaches Korriban, they are greeted by an Academy Overseer named Tremel. This Overseer was responsible for tasking the acolyte with trials and assessing their potential. Unlike other acolytes of the Academy, who are commonly aliens, slaves or both, the warrior acolyte was favoritized because of their high-ranking birth in Imperial civilization. This meant the acolyte had more personal training sessions with Overseer Tremel. Other acolytes were banded together in groups and had to compete for a position. The first trial for the acolyte was to enter the tomb of Ajunta Paul and retrieve a Sith Warblade. This would be their weapon of choice until they were ready for a lightsaber. Upon arrival to the Korriban Academy itself, the acolyte was cornered by other students who were jealous of the attention and shortcuts granted to the acolyte. In reality, Overseer Tremel was the type of Imperial who preferred clean blood, which basically meant he preferred acolytes who descended from the true Sith Empire and not aliens or slaves. The next trial for the acolyte was to interrogate a group of individuals who were incarcerated at the prison block. This is where the acolyte meets their future companion, Vet. Vet is a female Twi'lek who had been captured and enslaved by the Empire. After interrogating the prisoners, the acolyte returns to Overseer Tremel to retrieve their next trial. The Overseer first explains that he had brought the acolyte to be trained ahead of schedule because he wanted someone of proper blood to advance the Academy's trials. This meant that Tremel was interfering with Sith training traditions, which was punishable by death. However, the acolyte is ambitious and also wants to advance. The next trial saw the acolyte enter the tomb of Marka Ragnos. There they would meditate by the fire and wait for a legendary beast. The trial was to defeat the beast, which of course the acolyte did. After returning yet again to the Academy, Overseer Tremel instructs the acolyte to visit Darth Baras, so the acolyte may place their bid to be his apprentice. Overseer Tremel's entire goal was to ensure the acolyte gets the position over non-worthy students. When facing Darth Baras for the first time, it becomes clear that the acolyte's training is not complete. Baras informs the acolyte that he's aware of Tremel's discretions, and he does not approve of Overseer Tremel's inability to adapt to the modern Sith doctrine. Because of this, Darth Baras claims the Acolyte as his new student and commands them to kill Overseer Tremel. When the Acolyte returns to Overseer Tremel, the Acolyte can decide to kill him or spare him. If they choose to kill, then they lose a potential ally for the future. If they choose to spare him, then Tremel returns later on to aid and support them. Regardless, after returning to Baras with the command complete, another trial begins. This time, our Sith Acolyte must complete a trial that is more traditional. Darth Baras sends the Acolyte along with his other potential Acolytes to the tomb of Tulak Horde. Here they are tasked with retrieving ancient shards that adorn some ruined shrines. When the Acolytes return to Darth Baras, he sees it was the Sith Acolyte that had single-handedly accomplished the task. Impressed with their success so far, Baras declared the Acolyte his new favourite and seemingly brushed off his other Acolytes. Darth Baras then tasks the Acolyte with entering the tomb of Naga Sadow and retrieving the ancient Sith Lord's lightsaber. The female Twi'lek the Acolyte met earlier, Vet, was recruited as a companion at this point because she was caught plundering in that exact tomb. She was equipped with a shock collar and forced into following the Acolyte and guiding them along the path. Vet revealed that the Acolyte had to flip 4 ancient switches to reveal the area they need to explore. While on the trial, one of the other Acolytes of Baras, Vemrin, decided to ambush the Sith Acolyte in the tombs. However, this did not go in their favour, and the Acolytes easily defended themselves and killed the scumbag Vemrin. After killing them, the Acolyte continues to pursue the lightsaber, which they successfully found in a sarcophagus nearby. Before being able to return to Darth Baras with news of their success, the Acolyte was once again ambushed, except this time it was within the Academy walls. The daughter of Overseer Tremel had heard of her father's death, and now she sought vengeance. Even if they let Tremel live, the daughter still comes looking for them. This is because if they let him live, he will go into hiding, essentially pretending to be dead. After killing the disgruntled daughter, the Sith Acolyte continues to inform Baras that they had completed the trial. At this point, Darth Baras will appoint the Acolyte as his new apprentice and ask them to meet him on the Sith capital, Dromund Kars. Darth Baras briefs his new apprentice on Dromund Kars, explaining that he has spies located all across the galaxy, even in the Jedi Order. It will be the Sith apprentice's duty to aid Baras in all that he commands, while soaking in small bits of knowledge from their master as to grow stronger in the dark side of the Force. After helping Darth Baras obtain a powerful interrogation tool called the Ravager, the apprentice and Baras both learn that the Jedi have a new Padawan who is able to sense and root out the spies that Baras has planted within the Republic. The Ravager was used on the mind of a Republic SIS agent who freely told all information before his brain turned into liquid. They discovered this Padawan was training underneath a Jedi Master named Nerman Carr, a Jedi who had once before confronted Baras and almost defeated him. Darth Baras grants his new apprentice a starship and sends them across the galaxy to search and destroy this Padawan. The first planet Baras sends his apprentice to is Balmorra. Here they are to meet with a contact named Malavai Quinn, who had previously worked with Baras. It was the apprentice's mission to seek out one of Baras's spies and retire them. However, there is also a Jedi investigator who may have collected evidence against Baras's spy network. The apprentice eventually discovers this spy and ends them as Baras requested. However, the Jedi had set up an ambush at the spaceport. The Jedi was almost able to send their proof of spies back to the Jedi Council. However, Malavai Quinn intercepted the transmission and blocked it, meaning the Jedi were completely unaware of the evidence against Baras's spy network. With the mission successful, Malavai Quinn requests to join the apprentice on their travels and becomes a companion for the journey. With the mission of finding the new mysterious Jedi Padawan still ongoing, Baras decides it's best to eliminate another one of his spies on Nar Shaddaa to tie up loose ends. On Nar Shaddaa, a rival of Darth Baras appears. This is Lord Rafari, a rising Sith Lord who had been noticed by the Dark Council and granted dominion of some areas on Nar Shaddaa. Baras instructs his apprentice to destroy Lord Rafari and eliminate the spy. The apprentice rises to the challenge and is able to draw Lord Rafari out into a confrontation, where they may choose to kill him or allow him to live so he may support their power base later on. With business concluded on Nar Shaddaa, the apprentice sets out for their next destination. After leaving the planet, they became aware of a ship that was tracking their movements on behalf of the Jedi Master Nerman Kar. This Jedi sought information on Baras' new apprentice and wanted to have their movements tracked. Nerman Kar sees that the apprentice seems to be searching for clues about his own Padawan. This is the mysterious Padawan that Baras had learned of with the power to sense a person's true nature. A power that could expose his entire spy network. Darth Baras sends his apprentice to deal with the ship that had been tracking them and to deal with everyone on board. After dealing with this side objective, Baras informs his apprentice that his spies have found leads about the Padawan on the worlds of Tatooine and Alderaan. Apparently, Alderaan is where the Padawan was raised, and Tatooine is where they were trained. Firstly, the Sith apprentice travels to the world of Tatooine, where they meet with an agent of Darth Baras. This agent had been able to reveal the Padawan's path through the planet. The Jedi Padawan had been to Tatooine before and was trained here by a Jedi Master known as Master Yanlock. The apprentice follows the breadcrumbs so that they may find the Jedi who trained the Padawan. The goal here was to draw the Padawan out of hiding by striking at those she might be close to. By striking out at the Jedi who assisted their training here on Tatooine, it may help to draw the Padawan out of hiding. Eventually, the Sith apprentice must venture into the most lethal areas of the planet's surface. They visited a desert oasis that was touched by the Force. Here they had to face a reflection of themselves so that the Force may show them the next step of their path. The vision shows the apprentice the location of a building in the Dune Sea. This is the building where the Jedi Master they are searching for are currently residing. After visiting the building and defeating the Jedi within, the apprentice reports their success back to Darth Baras, and the mission to flush out the Padawan continues on Alderaan. The reputation of the Sith apprentice begins to reach the ears of many within the Empire. When the apprentice reaches Alderaan, it becomes clear that the other Dark Lords present are aware of their status, as they show respect when speaking. To be an apprentice to Darth Baras was already a big deal, but now our apprentice has killed many infamous Jedi, including Masters, and a 100% success rate on missions. The apprentice was becoming a true Sith Warrior. The Sith Warrior was told by Baras that the Padawan they were searching for had been raised on Alderaan. The plan was to find her family and either kill them or convert them to the Empire. Either one would be enough to help draw them out. One of Baras's agents who represented a noble house on Alderaan had managed to discover that the Padawan matched the identity of a handmaiden who used to serve one of the other noble houses. Not too long after, the Sith Warrior finds out the name of the Padawan, Jaisa Wilson, a female human. Be sure to check out our explained video on her. The Sith Warrior eventually finds Jaisa Wilson's parents. They can decide to kill them or to convince them their only option for survival is to join the Empire. After completing the task and reporting back to Baras, the Sith Warrior gets a recorded communication. Jaisa Wilson had personally sent a message. She wanted to end the bloodshed and meet face to face with the Sith Warrior. Jaisa didn't want to be caught up in a war between Darth Baras and Nerman Kar. She sends her ship's coordinates. However, her master Nerman Kar had intercepted this and ambushed the Sith Warrior with two of his colleagues instead. The two colleagues didn't make it. Darth Baras contacts the Sith Warrior and tells them Nerman Kar has challenged him to a duel. Nerman Kar has a history with Darth Baras. Be on the lookout for his explained video coming this year to learn more. Darth Baras decides to send his apprentice to face Nerman Kar rather than going himself. Baras feels he has outgrown this rivalry with this Jedi in particular. The Sith Warrior accepts the challenge and must make their way to Hutta for the final showdown. Defeating the Padawan's master would be more than enough to draw her out. The Sith Warrior heads for Hutta, and without too much difficulty, they find Nerman Kar and defeat them in combat. It turns out that Nerman Kar had been on the precipice of turning to the dark side for a long time. Just after the battle ends, Jaisa Wilson arrives on the scene to confront the Sith Warrior. If the Sith Warrior chooses the path of the light side, then they will drive the Jedi Master Norman Carr insane with their backwards logic, resulting in him using the dark side to attack you. After Jace witnesses this, she chooses to follow the Sith Warrior, but will remain true to her Jedi teachings, believing she is working towards the goal of reforming the Sith Empire from within. However, if the Sith Warrior chooses the path of the dark side for this encounter, then it is possible to show Jace Wilson the true nature of the dark side. When she sees how much more powerful the warrior is, she accepts that her teachings were a lie, and she will pledge herself to the warrior as a follower of the dark side. Jace Wilson is the only companion that is reflected in this way, truly a unique character. Regardless of the result, the mission is a success. Baras' spy network remains intact and is no longer threatened by Jace's unique gifts. The Sith Warrior is rewarded by their master. Baras grants them the rank of Sith Lord for becoming a master of the dark arts. Now their prestige would be recognized by all from within the Sith Empire, and Jedi who survived encountering them would tell the tale of a hulking, brutish, and relentless Sith Lord. Darth Baras now explains to his apprentice he has much larger plans. Baras, along with his master, Darth Vengean, seek to reignite the war and break the Treaty of Coruscant. To do this, Baras explains that they must eliminate an infamous Republic general who had previously denied the Empire on the Fringe systems. After the Sith Warrior completes this assassination, Darth Vengean gives the order for Plan Zero. Plan Zero was the systematic assassination of the Republic's top military leaders. There were 6 targets total. However, right now, Baras only had the location of 4 of them, all of which was on the planet Taris, the world that was decimated by Darth Malak 300 years before. The Sith Warrior's companions proved to be invaluable assets while on Taris. Malavai Quinn provides a constant flow of news, updates, and information on the mission. Jace is more than prepared for a combat situation. The Twi'lek vet had proven useful with slicing and hacking. With their combined skills, the 4 targets that had gathered on Taris were easily located, assaulted, and eventually killed. A new companion joins the Sith Warrior after the successful mission, Lieutenant Pierce, a former member of Imperial Black Ops, said to be one of the best. Baras informs his apprentice that Darth Vengean had led an assault against the Fringe systems, but had fallen into an ambush. It was unclear whether or not someone from within the Empire had leaked their plans to the Republic. However, after the Sith Warrior charged in to help one of the Imperial ships, it soon became clear that the entire thing had been a case of Sith infighting. Darth Baras had actually planned on allowing his master, Darth Vengean, to attack the Fringe systems while one of Baras's Republic agents, an infamous admiral, managed to infiltrate one of the attacking Imperial ships and seize it. This admiral fled the Imperial ship shortly before the Sith Warrior arrived. However, the warrior chases them down to the planet of Quesh, and that is where they discover the truth of their true loyalty to Baras. The warrior then kills the admiral and all of his men. This admiral also just so happened to be one of the targets on the hit list for Plan Zero, meaning 5 of the 6 targets are now dead. When the warrior returns to Baras, it is explained to them that for now they must remain in the dark. However, what had happened was an attempt to sully the reputation of Darth Vengean. His attack on the Fringe system did not go well, and not only that, the attack itself is the action that broke the Treaty of Coruscant. Peace between the Empire and Republic had now come to an end. War was upon the galaxy again. For now, Baras instructs his apprentice to deal with the last target from Plan Zero, a Jedi Knight named Zaranda, located on Hoth. It turns out that yet another previous enemy of Baras had once again surfaced. An enemy Jedi he thought to be dead was actually alive and well thanks to being sustained by the Force. This was Jedi Master Wilet, who had been captured during the war many years ago and presumed to be dead after his ship was shot down. Turns out he crash-landed on Hoth and has been trapped there in a cave-in ever since. The last target of Plan Zero, Jedi Knight Zaranda, just happened to be the former Padawan of this Jedi Master Wilet. The Sith Warrior was able to track down these Jedi and eliminate them. If the warrior walks the path of light, then they can choose to let the Jedi live, but they must remain trapped within the cave for the rest of time. While on Hoth, the Sith Warrior recruits another companion, an alien Tals named Brunmark. With all targets on Plan Zero killed or otherwise out of action, Darth Baras is very pleased. Baras reveals to his apprentice that his plan was to complete Plan Zero and push Darth Vengean into conflict with the Republic. Baras's undercover admiral had then sabotaged the attack, and the entire thing backfired when the Treaty of Coruscant was broken. All of this made Darth Vengean look really bad, so Baras now knew that if he were to strike out and kill Vengean, he could inherit his position on the Dark Council. This had been the plan all along. Sith politics and personal gain for Darth Baras. Rather than going himself, Baras sends his apprentice to deal with Darth Vengean. Vengean had an apprentice named Lord Drag. However, Lord Drag was actually loyal to Darth Baras. Vengean found out about this and took Lord Drag prisoner. Baras instructs his apprentice to free Lord Drag and attack Darth Vengean as a duo. Despite the warrior wanting to do this alone, the warrior obeys their master's order. After freeing Lord Drag and successfully defeating Darth Vengean, Darth Baras is quick to rise to his new seat on the Dark Council. It would seem that despite all the hard work the warrior has gone through, their master Darth Baras would benefit the most. With a new war against the Republic on the horizon, Darth Baras sends his apprentice to the world of Quesh to finalize the Empire's control of the planet. However, Darth Baras had actually deceived the Sith Warrior. They had become a threat to Baras because of how powerful they had become. The warrior was quickly excelling and likely to exceed their master. Baras decides to act first and take out his own apprentice. Baras had yet another Republic spy who had helped manipulate the scene on Quesh. Lord Drag then assists Baras by personally setting off an explosive charge near the Sith Warrior. The explosion was meant to be enough to kill them, but the vitality of the Sith Warrior proved to be mighty. They survived. In fact, the Sith Warrior had grown so powerful that even the Emperor himself had taken notice. Two of the Emperor's minions, Servant 1 and Servant 2, had revealed themselves to the Sith Warrior on Quesh. These two minions were to recruit the Sith Warrior and anoint them as the Emperor's Wrath, a title that is legend, a rank that carries the full might of the Emperor's will. The Sith Warrior had been chosen, specifically selected for this role. The two minions explained that after the Treaty of Coruscant, the Emperor retreated into silence. Darth Baras had learned of this and used this for his own agenda. With the Emperor seemingly absent, Baras was free to make his own claims. Baras was now claiming to be the voice of the Emperor, the chosen Sith to relay the words of the Empire's divine ruler. This was simply not acceptable to the actual Emperor. It was his will that the new Wrath seek and destroy Darth Baras. However, he must also be exposed for the liar and fraud he is. A blatant attack could make him a martyr or inspire others to his cause. The two minions became the new point of contact for the Sith Warrior. The new plan was to undermine Darth Baras and his power base. If they could get the attention of the Dark Council, then they could expose his lies. The first blow against Baras is dealt on the prison world of Belsavis. On this world, Baras's sister, Darth Ekage, had been held prisoner for many years. She is also a former Dark Council member. The Sith Warrior learns that Baras seeks to free his sister and gain her support for his claim of being the Emperor's voice. So the Sith Warrior intercepts this rescue and destroys Darth Ekage before she can escape the planet. With the first blow against Baras successful, the Emperor's two minions explain to the Sith Warrior that Baras has Dark Council members who oppose him, the main one of which is Darth Vowran. This Dark Lord resides on the world of Corellia, which is protected mostly by an impressive Imperial dreadnought. Baras had requested this dreadnought be moved to Hoth. knowing full well that Darth Vowron would soon be dead if they couldn't defend the planet. So the Sith Warrior visits the captain of this dreadnought personally and rescinds Baras's order, another act that undermines their former master while aiding those who seek to oppose him. The more the warrior undermined Darth Baras, the less likely people would be to believe his claims about being the Emperor's voice. Darth Baras had quickly learned that his former apprentice survived and now seeked vengeance, so Baras sends Lord Drag to ambush the Sith Warrior. However, this confrontation just proves the warrior to be the strongest of Baras's apprentices. Lord Drag was defeated. After this success, the two minions explain that the Emperor had long ago possessed a Voss visionary and claimed them as his voice. When the Empire first attacked Voss, they didn't do so because they wanted the planet. The Emperor secretly wanted to embody one of the Voss to inherit their powers of visions through the Force. The Voss were naturally attuned to such a gift. However, the Emperor's true voice had fallen silent. What actually happened is long ago Darth Baras was the one to discover the potential of the Voss aliens. Baras offered this information to the Emperor along with a lead on a mysterious being known as Selma Kor, a dark entity that had said to have been older than the Emperor himself. This of course piqued the Emperor's interest and he accepted the information and offering from Darth Baras. The Emperor had actually been led into a trap. Darth Baras had intentionally led the Emperor into a certain room on Voss, a room that the Emperor's true voice would be trapped within forever. This gave Baras the freedom to rise within the ranks using lies and deception. It was the responsibility of the Emperor's wrath, the Sith Warrior, to now find a way to free the voice and the Emperor's silence over the Empire. When the warrior finds the voice hidden on Voss, the voice commands the warrior to destroy his body so his essence may be freed. The Emperor essentially orders his own death. Once the task is done, the Emperor is pleased and returns to his domain. To further learn the story of the Emperor, check out my explained video on him. After leaving the world of Voss, the Sith Warrior is lured into yet another trap. Except this time, they had been betrayed by their own companion, Malavai Quinn. The Sith Warrior confronts Malavai and defeats them in a fight. Malavai explains that he had been forced into servitude by Darth Baras. The warrior may choose to forgive Malavai and move on, or they may choose to force him into servitude once more and treat him with disdain. After this betrayal is sorted and in the past, the Emperor's minions direct the Sith Warrior to Corellia. Darth Vowron is still a potential ally, and since he is a Dark Council member, it was a good idea to get his support. So the Sith Warrior sets out to meet Darth Vowron. When they eventually meet face to face, Vowron accepts the Sith Warrior's help, and also accepts that they are the Emperor's wrath. Darth Baras was due to speak in the Dark Council chambers very soon, and declare his authority over the Empire. Baras tried to have Vowron assassinated because he knows he opposes his claims. However, the Sith Warrior intercepted this assassination. While on the planet Corellia, the Sith Warrior learns of another one of Baras's operations. Baras seeks a dark entity who had been hidden away on the planet. I will be making a video on this character in the future, as the story implies that this entity could be the former lover of the Emperor. If this is true, it means the entity is connected to Darth Nul, or is Darth Nul? We'll see. Anyways, the Sith Warrior foils this plot, and actually helps to release the entity and give them their freedom. Once the alliance with Vowron was established, he explained that most of the Dark Council don't actually believe Baras's claims, yet majority of them would still support him when the next meeting began. This was because Darth Baras had spent years collecting secrets, evidence, and who knows what else to use against individual members of the Dark Council. Baras also had so many Republic spies, he could basically send out a Jedi assassin team to hunt down any Sith he chooses to expose. These things accumulated was enough to blackmail and intimidate his way to the top of the Sith hierarchy. The Sith Warrior decides it's best to find all the leverage Baras holds and destroy it. This way the Dark Council is free to reject Baras without the fear of being exposed or hunted. After this is done, Vowron makes arrangements for the Sith Warrior to gain access to the Dark Council chambers on Korriban, where Baras would be speaking.
That had better be Darth Vowron coming through those doors.
Today, your reign ends.
Interesting.
This isn't the time for one of your games, Vowron.
For the voice of the Emperor, you're uncharacteristically silent. Didn't the Emperor warn you of this?
I'm merely amused, young one. My fellows, this is my former apprentice. No doubt you're acquainted with his defiance. He was unworthy of me, so I excised him. The Emperor will inform me what is to be done with Vowron. For now, assist me in destroying this rabble.
If Baras is true, and I false, he should be able to defeat me himself. Make him prove he is what he says.
You need only judge by who stands with this cretin. Overseer Trimmel, a base coward who tried to undermine the purity of our training process.
The Challenger is also supported by Darth Vowron, one of our own. I have no doubt about you, Baras. But swat this gnat quickly so we can continue our business.
Fine. The Master will grant the slave's last wish. The Emperor calls for your death. Attack me if you dare.
I was never, nor shall I ever be, your slave.
If the warrior chose to keep Overseer Tremmel and Lord Rafari alive, then they will appear here at the end to support the Sith Warrior within the Dark Council chambers. The Sith Warrior enters the Dark Council chamber and interrupts Baras's speech. Because of everything the warrior has done to undermine Baras, the Dark Council think it's best for the Sith Warrior and Baras to fight to the death. The warrior claims to be the Wrath. Baras claims to be the Voice. No single Dark Council member will provoke the Emperor. The two must fight. The one who lives speaks the truth.
Had enough, child? Can you feel your grip on life slipping? Why persist in this futile gesture of vengeance? Let go. Embrace your death.
Forget the bravado, Baras. No one's buying it.
Just being sporting. I would think you'd appreciate the chance to catch your breath. Your champion is failing, Vowron, and you'll be next.
Is that coming from you or from the Emperor, Baras? It's hard to tell the difference.
Don't mock me, fop! Your patron just ensured your suffering will be epic, youngster. Now, die!
You're depleted, Baras. You hover a breath away from destruction.
No! My powers abandon me!
Beg me to let you live.
I call upon the Dark Council to kill this fool! Now! The Emperor commands it! Darth Maul, strike on the Emperor's behalf, or suffer his disfavor!
I believe I'll take my chances.
Ravage! Has your sense left you as well? Defend me! Defend the Voice! I will not stand in the path of the Emperor's wrath. You think you've won? You think you can silence the Emperor's true voice? Deliver the death blow, then! From beyond darkness, I shall strike at you! Someday, vengeance will be mine!
I wash the galaxy clean of you.
I cannot die!
After defeating their former master, the Sith Warrior is officially recognized as the Emperor's Wrath, answerable only to the Emperor himself. The Sith Warrior reminds the Dark Council that if any of them ever act in opposition to the Emperor's designs, the Wrath will tear them down. Yet the following years would prove to be challenging as time goes on and events change in the galaxy. Along with the removal of the Sith Emperor, the Warrior becomes instead the Empire's Wrath. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, please be sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a video. YouTube doesn't push all our videos out, so being subbed is the best way to make sure you see every awesome lore video. Let me know who you want to see next and I'll catch you in the next one. May the Force be with you.